start recording. So, screen share onto the document. Okay, perfect. All right, so again, I am Mia Hillebrand. I am from Section 4, so I am your state secretary this year. And last year I had participated in discussion meet. So I graduated in high school in 2020. So I'm 2 years out of high school from River Valley High School in Section 4, like I had said. And so with COVID-19, I was not able to participate in a sectional LDE event. So I had the chance to be able to compete again this past summer and July at the state convention for discussion meet, and had happened to get to have a chance to be the state winner. So that was pretty cool. So discussion meet has been a part of my LDE experience for about 4 years now. So a little bit what discussion meet is, if you have not participated in it. It is an agriculture systems career pathway. So it's for high school students about 7th to 12th grade. It's an individual event, and you discuss agriculture related topics with other FFA members. So you see that picture where those other FFA members are. Usually you're set up like that, but there's a podium right between the two middle people, and that's how you want to set it up. I'll show you another picture, another visual, but you will usually about to be with 4 to 6 other FFA members discussing one topic. And the purpose is designed for FFA members to demonstrate their problem solving and speaking skills on agriculture related topics on a timely scale. So how we have this set up usually, and you can find all of this information on the Wisconsin Ag Ed website, which sometimes it's kind of hard, especially when I was an FFA member, is I did not know you had access to this stuff. And sometimes ag teachers kind of forget what's going on, and like, oh, totally forgot that this is there. Or they'll hand this to you and you'll be like, I don't know where she got this, but this is a packet full for this LDE. So again, focusing more on what this room will look like when you expect to go into a district or sectional or state level discussion meet. So there is the moderator and the podium right in the middle, and then you'll have the 3 others on the outside. And then you'll be facing the judges and the audience. Usually there's not audiences at the district or sectional level, so you don't have to be quite as nervous, which is super nice. But at the state level, there will be audiences. So some rules of discussion meet. An FFA member must be in a good standing with the local chapter and association to compete. And that's with any events that you participate in at the district, the sectional, or the state level competitions. The winner may not compete again after succeeding in winning the competition. And that's in any LDE or even career development events. You cannot continue on winning that. But if you had won it, let's say your sophomore year, missed your junior year because you won it your sophomore year, you can compete again your senior year. The official dress must be worn at all contestants participating. Deductions for not wearing the right official dress, things like that. I'm sure some of you guys know that's how most leadership development events are. You wear your official dress. Obviously, 8th graders with their quiz bowls are a little bit different, but every LDE usually requires FFA official dress. And you can find this rubric, which is super helpful, on our wisconsinaged.com or .org, sorry. And they have an opening statement is what you're going to open with. So usually they announce the topic right in the room. You get the list of topics ahead of time, but you don't know which specific topic you're going to talk about. So they'll give the topic and the 3 little points along with the first topic. And so then you have to write an opening statement on what you want to cover in the discussion meet. And then they want you to come up with a solution to the problem while you're discussing. Sometimes I have found working in discussion meet is sometimes you can get off track and not come to a conclusion of solving the problem. Usually it's like, okay, I know this, and you kind of stick to it, not necessarily listening to other ideas or asking other people ideas and how they can see this as solving the problem. And of course, delivery, as it's a speaking contest, you want to have a voice quality, loudness, clear, and communicativeness. That's what you want. You want a cooperative attitude. So something that I have realized and I have experienced in the couple of years that I have been a part of discussion meet, sometimes it gets to be a little bit more like a debate. and you don't want it to be like a debate at all. You want that one-on-one communication, and you want to be able to resolve a problem as if you were going to work with a chapter officer team on, like, okay, let's say I have an event this weekend and we need to have 3 people run and get these materials. How are we going to be able to accomplish this in the 45-minute open period that we have right now? So you want to have that cooperative attitude. And if there's something that you may not disagree with, you can't just say, I don't like your idea. You can say it in a different way, as like, I like your idea. Now, how can we apply that to the situation? Asking questions on how we can use that in our discussion. And the FFA impact is, we want to stay true to what our values are in the FFA. So these topics are related to FFA members and what our mission is. Sometimes we can get off topic on like farmers or agriculture related topics that are a little bit more superior than what we can do as FFA members. So we want to make sure it stays to that FFA topic. And that closing statement is something that stays true to what the opening statement says, as you want to close up including all people's ideas. And I'll talk a little bit more on tips and tricks on how to do that, but we'll look this over. This is accessible again on the wisconsinaged.org for any of you guys to do. And you can utilize this to practice this if you were to have some alumni come and watch you and a couple other teammates or a couple other people want to do a discussion practice. That would be an awesome thing. And then they have the rubric, and it's pretty self-explanatory, as you guys can see. All right, so tips and tricks. So when I say practice, 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 it's kind of hard to do discussion meet when you're a single contestant. And you might have another chapter member that's also competing in the contest, and it's a little bit easier. But when I say practice, 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 I will show you a little bit more on resources that you can use to practice. I always watched the Farm Bureau, like the national contests on YouTube. Those helped me so much to see like what I like to see in someone when they respond to a topic or how they address someone, and using those tips and tricks that they pretty distinctly say in those discussions is something that I utilized and used to practice. And you want to lead the discussion. Leading the discussion means not necessarily, do not over discuss to yourself, like, okay, let's say the topic is safety. So we're talking about farm safety and how we as FFA members can associate that into our curriculum and teaching younger members or teaching elementary students. You don't want to be like, okay, so Henry and I, we both wanted to do a SOC, the SOC safety days. Okay, that's what SOC does. That's what we want to do. This is what we're going to do as FFA members, and that's it. We don't want to necessarily just stick to one topic. We want to brainstorm ideas that we may not know, or research those discussion points on what do other people do, or can we team up with our Farm Bureau, or can we team up with our alumni on creating something that we can do in our school, or even a statewide things that we can do at the state level. And we want to share ideas, but we also want to include all ideas that was presented in our opening statements. Some other people come in with different ideas on, okay, I did this research on safety, or someone else did this research on safety, or we do have the Sauk County Safety Days. We want to include all of those ideas in the discussion. We don't want to leave any ideas out, because you can get points deducted if we don't ask other people what their opinions and their thoughts are. And take small notes on the statements from fellow contestants. I think that's something that is quite forgotten, and something that we can do as FFA members a little bit better, especially when I competed, is taking small notes. They hand you a piece of paper on your little station, and you want to take notes on what other people say. Like, let's say there was a statistic. Okay, so you write the statistic down in their opening statement, and it's not rude at all as long as you're not writing crazy. But you take those notes, and then you can be like, well, Anna, so you said this statistic, including farm safety reports in your county. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? So including those statements and kind of bringing that light to someone else also is something that you want in the discussion meet. And so then you want to prepare your small statements ahead of time. They will give you these topics. Now, I know the topics for 2022 are not out yet. We are just working on those, but when you are looking at those topics ahead of time, you can prepare your short statements ahead of time and have those memorized, which for me, I wish I did a little bit more. I remember writing my research down and staring at it right before I did the competition, but I wish I wrote my small opening statement ahead of time, so I was a little bit more prepared. And you guys have that ability to do that. So remember, if you just do a quick practice, it doesn't have to be word for word memorized, but it just makes you a little bit more polished when you get into the discussion room. Cover all subtitles of the topic listed in the previous prompt. So when you guys get your prompts for the 2022 district and sectional and state levels, you guys want to include those subtitles. They're there to help you do your research, but they're also there to kind of guide the discussion on topics that they want you to address throughout the discussion. So you want to cover all of those, and whether you say them just like safety rules and regulations in your county. Okay, so how can I say that right away in the discussion that was the first topic or the last topic? Ensure all contestants have a chance to talk. Now, there are people that do overdominate the discussion, and that's totally fine. But if you are one to overdominate the conversation, you want to always moderate. So let's say I was just talking right now about all these tips and tricks. Okay, I asked one of you guys, so what do you guys think is tips and tricks for you or helps you get into the discussion? Which we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the presentation. But covering that, you want to ask people always what they're thinking and what their mindset is on that discussion. And we also do not want to get off topic. Sometimes that's something that happens quite often is you can keep talking about, okay, the Sauk County safety days, I'll keep referencing those, and you're just going to constantly go over that topic, but we're not addressing what had also been brought on about other contestants and the research that they had done. We always want to make sure that's all included in the discussion. And when you ask people questions, that's definitely a bonus point. So then let's practice. So what we're going to do is I have last year's topics. So if some of you guys did compete, I have some of these. I also have included the Farm Bureau discussion meet questions this year. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret because this is not a secret to anyone really. Let me go back, sorry. So let's talk about how can Farm Bureau improve its effectiveness of recruiting YFNR members and increasing participation in YFNR programs. So let's put that in FFA standards. How can we, as FFA members, improve effectiveness of recruiting FFA members and increasing participation in FFA programs? So I'm going to stop share here, and I'm going to have you guys talk about that within the group. So we're going to talk about this like as if it's a discussion meet. Some of you guys, if you have competed, you've been on virtual, pretty easy. If you guys have microphone issues, it's totally okay. You can listen on and whichever. But how do we want to include FFA members in FFA activities at our chapter level and maybe even broadcast to our state level or chapter level? How can we include them? So let's do that. And the little tip and secret, usually we use Farm Bureau topics for speaking contests. Usually we base them off. So if you guys look those up, I'm not saying that those are all on there. There's a wide variety on that page. And you guys will have access to this if you want to look at Farm Bureau and stuff, and I have links, but usually what Wisconsin FFA or other associations look at the American Farm Bureau topics for the year. So that helps a little bit. So what I want you guys to do is lead the discussion on how can we include FFA members. Sounds good? We'll start with our opening statements. You guys can write them down or think about them for a minute. That's what I meant to say. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. So that is your minute to write your statements down. So whoever wants to start can.
We as FFA members have not only a responsibility, but a duty as FFA members as really to be advocates for agriculture. That being said, agriculture is not all that we do. And so FFA has really been improving himself. We're not just, a club for farm kids anymore, and we're much more based upon that leadership and that skill growth. And so a big thing about recruiting to FFA that we need to remember is that we need to be so much more diverse when we're reaching out to other people because like just in my chapter itself, our FFA chapter is a very tight knit like group of people that really all know each other before FFA, and
That's tough.
so we need to reach out.
Sweet, I can go next. We as FFA members can include others by diversifying activities so broader spectrums of individuals within our chapters and school communities can enjoy those. And we can also have one-on-one conversations with those individuals that we see potential in. As leaders within our chapters, we have to go out and see how each and every individual can have a place in our organization.
Anybody else want to go next?
All right, I can go. All right, so we as FFA members, alumni, or even officers, from the beginning time we joined, we were told that we want to get our name out there and to talk to as many people as we can. And with trying to get people to join, we would need to realize that with current actions happening in the world and current things going on, we need to remember that, as to what Henry said, we are not just about farm kids or just about farming. We're also about the mechanics aspect. We're also for the communications, the LDEs, the CDEs. So just to get more kids involved and more alumni supporters and whatnot, I think we need to keep our ideas open to what we want to do in the future, but to also what we want to do now.
Anybody else want to go over their opening statement?
I can try it out.
Okay.
Okay. Being as there are over 725,000 national FFA members, there are so many things that we as FFA members can do to get more people involved. Social media is a great source for FFA members to share the many things that FFA has to offer. We can use social media to promote all of our activities, such as CDEs, LDEs, and chapter events. We need to promote our chapter events more than anything because that is where we will get our members right away. Then we should go on and then teach the members more about the bigger things that they can do and the large things that will help them be a better person and leader.
That is time. So we do have 10 minutes left of the Zoom because I do only have 40 minutes left allowed for it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a 3-minute. Usually it's about 10 to 15 minutes that you guys have time to discuss. Depends on what level you are at. But so I'm going to give you about 3 to 4 minutes to discuss this topic. And then you guys just have that little understanding. Sounds good? And you guys can go.
Sweet, thank you. So I know Henry and Simone, you talked a lot about how we can show that FFA is a broad organization. What specific ideas do you have that we can promote to our members? So I mentioned that we can have one-on-one conversations with them so that we are personally inviting them to the organization. So what ideas do you two have for that?
A big thing is that so our first rosters had to be turned in at the end of November, and so we still have a second roster that is due at the end of March, I believe. And so that follows up right after National FFA Week. And so a great opportunity for us to reach out to members and like students at our school is to be really blowing up everything for National FFA Week, because that's a great way to get people's attention. And so in our past few years, we really haven't done a whole lot. Whereas this year we've got a few plans in place. And so I'm also a member of our school student council. And so I'm kind of borrowing ideas from that and seeing how we can kind of put an FFA based twist on everything, whether it's a little more agriculturally based, just like that. And so we need to make it seem almost as like it's just another club, and so it's such a boring topic.
All right, thank you, Amy, for asking, and also thank you, Henry, for that answer. I do agree to what a lot Henry said. Personally, in our chapter, we have a very diverse officer team. Not everyone comes from the same background, so what we do to get more FFA members involved in that aspect is that each person on the officer team has their own personality, own way of how they do things. So they just reach out and they talk to their friends, and then their friends reach out to them. And that's kind of how we see our school working. And that's how multiple schools are working currently, is with just the branching out of different people. So that's kind of been our main way of doing that, and also reaching out to different parents and different community groups. So that's kind of how we're doing it. So I'm going to throw the same question back at you. So when you say that one-on-one conversations, what are you meaning by those one-on-one conversations?
Yeah, thank you. So when I say one-on-one conversations, I mean really like seeing potential in the students. So I have a very close connection with my FFA advisor, and she obviously sees all these students through her classes, and she is able to, in Intro to Ag, which is a prerequisite for the rest of the agriculture classes, she gets to sort of see what each individual student's supervised agricultural experience, or SAE, consists of. And then from there, based on the officers and other leaders within our chapter, we can see our personal likes and dislikes and how we can connect, really, whether it's through different SAEs or different likes.
Our FFA teacher and advisor does the same thing. So I 100% understand that. And I think that idea is awesome. I also like what you're doing, Henry, by going through student council. We have that connection as well going through there. So I understand that. And it's really awesome to see like just growing through the school in that aspect. Rachel, I remember you talking about like the multiple different members there are. Is there any other like different ways that you want to get more people involved?
So my biggest thing is social media. I know almost everyone in our high school has it. If not, there's someone that's around to show them. And our past members, alumni, FFA members, advisor, every one of them can share on social media something special and important about FFA that would be able to get out to a variety of people. We can have our members share our chapter posts so that more people are seeing it than other than just those seeing other than just the people that are liking our pages or Instagram. So that's something that I think is huge in getting membership, and it's also grabs a lot of people's attention when it can be fun and exciting. What do you guys do with social media to help promote your chapters?
Thanks. So personally, I have a supervised agriculture experience in agricultural communications, and I see that as a SAE that literally anyone can take on. As Rachel said, everyone at this point in time has social medias, so it's a really valuable SAE because it does influence so much of our lives. And with that, it can also influence how FFA is a part of our lives. Whether it's finding out about Zooms and opportunities like this through social media or other stuff. We really have to promote that A, you can find out about FFA through social media, and B, that others can educate about agriculture and network with others through social media. I definitely agree. Social media is a very valuable tool in this day and age. What do you think, everyone else?
So if we can wrap
I
that
guess
up,
just
if you guys could write your discussions, I'll do that 30 seconds to have you guys write your closing statements and give you each 30 seconds. Is that okay? Just quick wrap up. I do have 3.5 minutes left. I can open it up to continue on our discussion and go through the rest of the PowerPoint. It's just a couple things regarding where you can find the resources, and I can open it up and record it again too. So if you guys want to have time for that, I'll start the 30 seconds now, and you guys can start your closing statements for the 30 seconds.
So we can start now with the closing statements.
Yes, yes.
All right. So as a group, I think we've concluded that we as a team, within the small team right here, with getting more members involved, we can go through the school, social media. Those are all amazing outlets. And each one of you has a different backing reason to why that's such a good reason. So walking into this, I was just thinking maybe like going different officer team strategies, but you guys have really opened up my mind to the different ways we can go about this. And I truly appreciate it. And I think that I'm really going to put this onto my chapter as well.
Um, we definitely had a very insightful conversation tonight. Unfortunately, it was very short-lived, and so we didn't get to dive deeper into it in certain aspects. And so we definitely talked a lot more about the recruiting aspect of it rather than, inciting more participation by current members. Um, but fortunately, a lot of these ideas that we have about recruitment can also apply into getting other people participating. And so I think we just need to kind of find a way to tie all these ideas together as we take these ideas back with us to our chapters. Thank you.
Obviously, inclusion and diversity are very important aspects of our organization and our society. We can promote inclusion and diversity, and so that individuals will get more active within our organization through having one-on-one conversations with those individuals, by making connections with them through agriculture coursework, and also by utilizing social media as the valuable resource that it is in this day and age. Thank you.
Rachel, would you like to share? So I'm gonna pull up my shared screen again. Okay, that's all right. I totally understand. The storms are, everything's just kind of wacky right now. I totally understand. I'm surprised mine hasn't gone out, if you want me to be honest. I am in the corner of the state, so it's supposed to hit the hardest. Okay, so now it's trying to tell me to buy Zoom. Okay, so what I have for you guys, so on this part of my slides, I have ways that you can connect is with Farm Bureau or watching past Wisconsin state. There might be some recordings out there for Wisconsin FFA because I know that discussion does not continue on to the national level. But the Farm Bureau on YouTube, there's a 2021 one virtually, and there's many others that are also very good to watch because ours is very similar to what the Farm Bureau is.